Over the course of human history, one question has been asked time and time again. What makes a leader? Is it status? A list of accomplishments? Having the highest paycheck? Or is it something more? John Quincy Adams, one of the last notable statesmen and sixth President of the United States, once said, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader." Oftentimes, we as a society picture positions of leadership as reserved for those at the top of the corporate ladder, those working at the White House or Capitol building, military generals, or inspirational revolutionaries in human rights. We tend to imagine the prospect of leading our neighbors as a task reserved for the smartest or craziest of human beings.
However, leadership in the world, particularly American society, is more prevalent than generally thought. Every day, unsung heroes, unrecognized leaders, work tirelessly for their causes. Leadership, even though it may not be present on televisions, listed in newspapers, or heard on radios, is present all around us, and inspirational leaders walk among us. One of these leaders was Fannie Lorber, who founded the Denver Sheltering Home for Jewish Children in 1907. In her lifetime, Lorber demonstrated both determination and compassion, vision and caring, reason and humanity. One of the great philanthropists of the early 20th century, joining the ranks of a generation of charitable and progressive-minded reformers, Lorber dedicated much of her life to improving the lives of those around her, particularly children of the Denver area who were affected by respiratory illnesses. In the words of Lorber, the cause of a child is the cause of humanity.
In 1881, while anti-Semitic rioting, known as anti-Jewish pogroms, occurred throughout the Russian Empire, one of the most impactful Jewish-American philanthropists of the Progressive Era was born in the small shtetl, or small Jewish community, of Gyshin, near Odessa, Fannie Lorber. For the first 15 years of her life, Lorber's life in Gyshin was centered around Judaism, and she experienced stable community life there. As both of her parents were practicing Jews, and, throughout her childhood, she was surrounded by the religion, Lorber adopted the Jewish volunteer spirit early on.
After living in Gyshin for the majority of her childhood, Lorber and her family immigrated to the United States in the early 1890s. After living in St. Louis, Missouri, and Portland, Oregon, the Ellers settled in Denver in 1896. Her family, along with many other Jewish immigrants of the time, moved into the East European enclave of West Colfax Avenue, which seemed to be a home away from home, similar to the tight-knit community of Gyshin. There, at Colfax, Lorber witnessed the plight of those suffering from tuberculosis firsthand. Often, tuberculosis patients were denied care because they failed to gain admission to one of the 2 Jewish tuberculosis hospitals in the region.
In the early 1900s, after Fannie finished her childhood and transitioned into adult life, she met her future husband, Jacob Lorber. Jacob, an immigrant himself from Hungary, ran a successful shoe store in downtown Denver. Before marrying Fannie, Jacob served in the Colorado House of Representatives from 1900 to 1901. In 1902, Fannie and Jacob said their marriage vows and started their lives together. Soon after, Fannie gave birth to their 2 sons, Milton B. and Arthur B. Lorber. Fannie Lorber, along with Bessie Willens and other female Jewish immigrants, was inspired to aid children whose parents were afflicted with tuberculosis, and spearheaded a home for Jewish children. What originally spurred her to create this sheltering home was an incident involving 2 children whose father committed suicide in Michigan, while their mother was being treated for tuberculosis at one of the 2 Jewish centers in Denver. Although she was not a certified doctor, Lorber witnessed the suffering firsthand and strove to provide a place for kids whose parents had tuberculosis, as they were thought to be predisposed for the condition. And later, following the creation of the TB vaccine in the 1940s, children who suffered from asthma.
In addition to her philanthropic side, Fannie Lorber also unified the Germanic and Eastern European Jews together by recognizing the child, forcing them to work towards a common cause. Lorber stated, "Let us put aside our differences and work together for that which is our common desire, the arousing of the Jewish consciousness and the developing of ideal Americanism."
Fannie, inspired by Francis Weisbart Jacobs, the founder of Denver's Jewish Hospital Association, created the Denver Sheltering Home for Jewish Children in 1907. When it was opened, it originally housed only 8 children, but soon expanded to accommodate more afflicted youngsters. In August of 1908, a charter of incorporation was filed, legitimizing and recognizing the shelter as an official establishment.
Having a bold and confident personality, Fannie also spearheaded the fundraising efforts and had a famous slogan, "Whatever Fannie wants, Fannie gets." Lorber recruited women across the country to help, growing the organization to over 100 auxiliaries and establishing fundraising offices in both Denver and New York. As the home evolved, it could support more children, accommodating 15, then eventually 31. The children in this house were as young as 4 and as old as 14. Trying to promote more personalized service, Lorber bathed the children on Sundays and spoke to them regularly. Her staff consisted of a matron, a cook, and a janitor, with the matron carrying out most of the duties. However, the first site of the sheltering home, found on Julian Street in Denver, burned down in 1914. Undaunted in recognizing the need for her organization, Lorber relocated the sheltering home to 3247 West 19th Street. As the sheltering home took in more children, Lorber soon realized that she needed a bigger campus to house over 100 patients. In 1918, the sheltering home moved to a 17.5-acre plot of land on 19th Avenue.
Fannie believed that the purpose of her home was to shelter children of tuberculosis patients who came to Denver seeking to restore their health. But she also made donations to the parents for their mental and physical sake. Often, parents worrying about their children's health delayed their own recoveries, so Lorber strove to provide a safe, healing environment for the children at the sheltering home. Fannie revolutionized treatment for her young TB orphans and asthma patients. Instead of restraining them in regimented schedules and isolation, she gave them pure caring, time outside, activities, and friendship for their healing. Not only did her method treat tuberculosis, but it combated juvenile delinquency in the Jewish population. First-time juvenile offenders were sent to the Denver Sheltering Home, decreasing the delinquent crime rate among Jewish youths significantly. Over the years, the Denver Sheltering Home for Jewish Children underwent several name changes. Before merging with the National Jewish Hospital at Denver in 1978 to become the National Jewish Hospital/National Asthma Center, the sheltering home was called the National Home for Jewish Children in Denver, the Jewish National Home for Asthmatic Children in Denver, the Children's Asthma Research Institute and Hospital, and the National Asthma Center.
After serving Denver's children for 51 years as the head of the sheltering home, Lorber passed away peacefully on June 9, 1958, at the age of 76. Her son Arthur adopted her legacy and led the institution until the home merged with other Jewish healthcare facilities. When we think of leadership, our perception is that a leader has the most power. However, leaders unlock the potential in others, as lucidly demonstrated from Fannie Lorber. Even though her name is not well known, acknowledged, or acclaimed, it is memorable and influential to everyone who learns about her. Fannie Lorber's fulfillment of her philanthropic dream touched a multitude of people in her present time, as well as in the future. By organizing with other female Jewish philanthropists, Lorber created a safety net for ill and indigent children in the West. She illustrated the meaning of leadership and inspired other Denver reformers, including prominent volunteer Tillier Shulman Levy. Today, her legacy and name lives on. Although she accomplished many great feats in her lifetime, Lorber always remained humble, as she was dedicated to improving the lives of those around her. After receiving a plaque for her work in 1950, Fannie said, "You have all known me for many years, and you know that I do not look for honors or for glory. It is this unique and beautiful building, and the good that these children will gain from this building, that will mean more to me than any glory or honor bestowed on me. All I am able to say at this moment is thank you so very, very much."